beasts, aren't they? Chuffed to bits. The smallest little thornback. I'm just concentrating on not losing the rod over the side. And his eyes. He's got amazing eyes. Doggy in the boat. Golden mullet. There's a bit of weight to that, you know. And that's what we want, don't we? We don't want the same all the time. We want something different, a good old show. Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm in the workshop, freezing cold. I've lit the fire. It's going to take a while to warm up and it's going to pop and crackle for a little while. But we're in the workshop looking at kit for this year, and I thought I'd explain what the plans are and why I've gone down the route of the setup that I've chosen. I think it's going to be interesting. We're going to cover rods, reels, line, shock leader and the predominant rig for this year. We'll cover all those in some detail. We'll get straight into it, eh? So, as most people that have already followed the channel will know, I've fished most of this season with fire blades. I bought fire blades and Penn Mag 525, Mag 3s. I didn't get on with the Mag 3s, to be honest. I then switched to a set of Daiwa HT Millionaires. Amazing reels they are. Absolute cast a dream. But they're light. And they're light and they weren't really up to what I wanted them to do. And I didn't want to break them. So the problems I've had, or I feel that I've had, with the fire blades, there's nothing wrong with them. They're amazing rods. The blank and the quality of the blank, the spigot, I love certain design aspects of it. They're quite stiff for a short rod, so bite detection isn't amazing. Not a problem if you're using them for hounds and rays, perfect for that. But my casting, they weren't complementing my casting. And regardless of what anyone thinks of a rod, how you cast and what you do with it is quite a personal thing. Two people don't cast the same, even if they're coached. And I was struggling a little bit with the shorter rods. So I started to look around, do a little bit of research, and I happened across a very useful series of films with Dean Booker, referencing from VMO, Veal's Mail Order. Not linked with either of those, but you've got to acknowledge, you know, if you're looking at something and you're going to use aspects of it, it's nice to acknowledge where it's come from. And the more I looked into it, the longer rods he uses, expensive Century, I think the T1000s. I didn't want to go to that price point. It didn't feel like I wanted to commit to that sort of value of rod for what I'm using it for. And looking around, I ended up with the Any Fish Anywhere 6 and bait. Mark II, so it's the second version of it, 14-foot rods, multipliers. It's got a sliding reel seat, it's got Fuji guides. I like the quality of it. I like the whippings, I like the build on it, I like the finish on it. I'm actually really pleased with them. Back to long rods. And I've used them a couple of times already. And they complement my casting. They really, really do. They feel totally different to the fire blades, as you'd expect. Different price, well, reasonably same price point, but different kind of rod. That's the tip section. Nicely formed spigot. Really nice eyes. I think the Fuji eyes on here are of better quality. I maybe stand to be corrected than what's on the fire blades. But I think the blank satin finish on the fire blade might be more hard wearing than the gloss finish on the 6 and bait. So that's what I've got. Why did I choose that? Well, I normally fish with 5-ounce grip leads for the majority of the places where I fish. I wanted to up to 6-ounce weights to fish places more Chesil, Bristol Channel, South Wales, and that's where I come to this this actual rod. So the plan this year is to predominantly fish with 6-ounce weights, the rig that I'll show you in a second, using these rods and the reels that we're going to go through in a minute. I think this rod, with the price point, with what it will do, covers a large majority of what a lot of sea anglers would like to use or could use. So we're going to film it. We're going to showcase it throughout the whole season. Everything I fish from the shore is going to be with these rods. Now I did make one mistake. Now when I bought the fire blades, I bought Mighty Bright rod reflective tape, and I bought the Gemini reflective tape. And there was very little between it, but I think the Gemini reflective tape just pinches it just very slightly. If you have two rod tips in comparison, I think the Gemini tape won it over. Now when I bought these rods, I went straight to the tackle shop to buy me other bits and pieces, and I bought the Mighty Bright. I fancied the blue because I thought the blue would really reflect and be like an electric blue. It's not. Plus I'm a bit of a tackle tart, and the whippings were blue. The tip tape was blue. I thought, that's going to work. No, it doesn't. It doesn't reflect anything. I shine my head torch on it at night, I can't see it. So I have decided to remove that tip tape, and this is all part of the whole setup, and I'm going to go to the Gemini reflective tape. And I don't know if the camera is going to start. It's highly reflective, especially with a head torch on it. I'm going to remove the blue and put the silver on. So we've got 6 baits, multiplier, 14 foot, and we're going for Gemini tip tape. When we film in the future, you will see the two rod tips and how well they reflect. So that takes care of the rods. I've gone for a pair, and I've gone for identical rods. A bit OCD, I don't like them when they're different, but also they're going to be doing the same job. The next aspect, and there's one that's quite exciting to me, are the reels. I've gone multiplier. So I've gone full circle. In the 2 years we've been filming up till now, we've used fixed ball multipliers, big multipliers, braid on multipliers, mono on multipliers, all of which we've reviewed and discussed. And I've ended up with Penn Fathom 2 casting specials, 15 size, not 12s, and it's loaded with, it was recommended to me, and I've already used these, and it works, loaded with ASSO Ultracast. Bright yellow, predominantly most of my fishing's done at night. I wanted the visual aspect of it. I like to be able to see, although I have been told by the same person that recommended this to me that the white is very, it's like UV reflective. It's really reflective, but I haven't tried it myself. We've gone for, the recommendation for the reels is 0.35 millimetre. Loads of information I know, but I'm trying to build up to where we're going. 0.35, I've gone 0.36, 20 pound. The 20 pound's quite butch for the Solent, but I'm thinking hounds, rays, targeting stingrays this year, targeting shore caught taupe. So with that in mind, I've gone for £20. To team up with the main line, I did sort of like a mini trial where I was using these small spools of ASSO Ultraflex to complement the ASSO Ultracast. £70 and £80, and my thinking is £80 shock leader, £70 rig bodies for that sort of discrimination down the line sizes. I can put either of those on as shock leaders, 70 or 80, and there's a safety margin for a 6 ounce weight. For those that don't know, for a 6 ounce weight, for the shock leader you calculate £10 per ounce plus a £10 safety factor. So 6 ounce weight, £60 a shock leader, plus £10 is 70. I've got 70 and 80. I liked it that much, and I was starting to get low, that I bought it in the bulk spools, and I bought bright orange. That was what was available. Makes no difference to me for shock leader, but that's what I'm using. So we've got rods, 6 baits, tip tape, the Gemini Silver Reflective, ASSO Ultraflex £20 0.36mm mainline, and the ASSO Ultraflex for shock leader and main rig bodies. That's where we're up to now. We've also got the Penn Fathom 2 casting specials. Oh, they were so easy to set up. I took them down the beach about a week ago after I'd spooled them up, just to wet the line and some gentle casting, just to put it out and re-put it back on the spool. And I took both reels to do it with both reels, single rod, just swapped over halfway through. Simple overhead thump, full mag, and it just flies. Little tiniest 1/4 mil, 1/2 mil side play on the spool by adjusting the end. And when I say that, if we look at the reel in that orientation, so we're looking out with the rod attached, this side, there is the slightest hint of side play. That just means that that is fully free floating, and without any pressure on it, it's free to spin. The mag setting is interesting on these. Try looking on the internet or the instructions to see which way to turn the mags. It's not in the instructions. I can't find it on the internet, and there's nothing on it to show which way to turn for more or less mag. So if you're wondering, I'll put you out of your misery. It's clockwise for more mag, anti-clockwise for less mag. So when that is on the rod and you've cast, if you're a tournament caster, which I'm clearly not, you can go less mag in flight, you know. But what I will say is a very distinct sound. So all the time the weight's accelerating and it goes through the top of its arc, you hear the change in sound. You can physically hear it from accelerating away from the rod, reaching the tip of the height of the projection, to it dropping under gravity and distance. You can hear the difference. And obviously during daytime you can judge to when you thumb the spool. At night time you get very used very quickly, and I haven't had bird's nest with these. I started off full mag, gently. I've gone off 2 clicks at a time. I think it's 16 clicks in total. In fact, let's see. So that's when I was playing safe on Chesil the other night. I was 3 clicks out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 clicks. It's fully 16 clicks from fully off to fully on. I fished Chesil Beach, West Bexington with these the other night. Because it was night time, I didn't want to risk losing anything. I just went 3 clicks out. That was my nighttime setting. From a daytime setting, I go 6 clicks out. So from full mag, anti-clockwise, 6 clicks for the daytime setting. And I've already figured that out. I've used them for 2 sessions and I've used them for 1 practice session off the beach. I really need a casting coach. So if anyone's watching this, is one or knows of one, I'd very much like to employ, pay for, you know, everyone's time is time. I need a casting coach. So we've got rods, reels, line, tip tape, shock leaders, rig body. We now move on to the actual rig that I'm going to be using pretty much as the mainstay throughout this year. And it's significant without being significant. I've never used a pulley rig this long. As you can see, that is a long pulley rig. And in true form, full on, that's 5 foot. That's a 5 foot pulley. Very specific what I've used on it. So if we run it through, I am going to do a making on this rig, but I'm going to fish this rig all year for hounds, rays, tope and stingray. And I've already used it on Chesil Beach. Used it on Chesil Beach and it fishes lovely. For how long it is, it doesn't come back tangled. The components I've chose just complement each other so well. So let's have a quick look and we'll go through it. Using the ASSO Ultraflex on the early version, the clear version, I've now switched to orange. I've got £80 rig body. So the main line is £80. At the top, I'm now using the Dynaform. And that is such an improvement for me over the Aero pulley. So I've got the Dynaform Trident Tackle pulley, for want of a better word. And right on the very top of that, I've got a Gemini 140 pound stainless steel swivel. They're amazing. They're tiny and strong. It's either a 4 or 5mm bead. It looks like a 5mm bead for me. And at either end, I've got the Mark II Termalink. And the difference with the Mark II Termalink, from what I can see, is a larger eye size. Let's just see if we can get that in focus. A larger eye size, and it's got shoulders. It's got little shoulders where the line goes through. And if you can just pick those out if I twist it. And another 140 pound Gemini stainless steel swivel. The hook snood is 40 pound amnesia for this instance. We'll talk about something else in a minute. And on the business end, with the weight and the hook, just detach the hook. So the weighted end, I'm using Gemini 6-ounce weights with the Solo splashdown built in. I've already used these. They cast well, they grip well, and they detach. The only thing that I think that might be the fly in the ointment is on sandy beaches, which I fish very rarely, but I do fish some, whether sand interferes with the operation of the Solo. And obviously at the clip end, there's just the Termalink. For the hooks, I'm using J hooks with a variation possible, and that's where we go in a minute. But for the mainstay for the rays, I'm using J hooks, and these are 4-0 Quake. Nice strong hook in a pattern very similar to a Big Mouth Extra. Is that a Varias Big Mouth Extra? In the pennel configuration. If I was hound fishing, it'd be single hook. I'd take the pennel off. But for rays, for bait presentation, when the bait's in between those two, then it's in pennel. And that is the rig. I've already used it fishing. It fishes a dream. I always thought I was going to get tangles and problems. I didn't get anything like that. I was very pleased with how it fished actually. It was really good. That is going to be the mainstay for this year. That should cover me for places like Chesil, Bristol Channel, South Wales, areas east of where I live when I fish for stingrays and tope. So we just hang this up out of the way. And then just a variation on that, to add to that, I've made some biting traces. And these are predominantly for fishing for the tope. So we'll look at the J-hook biting trace first. I've made biting traces, which in total end up being about 12 to 13 inches. The cutting made at 15 inches using multi-strand coated wire, nice soft flexible wire. And to attach the hook, which is an ASSO Coik hook, very much like a BMX, use a Flemish loop and a crimp underneath some heat shrink. Even if the crimp was to fail, the Flemish loop would tighten up. A short length away, we've got another Flemish loop and another one of those Gemini 140 pound swivels. Look how weeny they are. 140 pound stainless swivel. So that is one variation of biting trace that I'm going to be using. Another variation made in exactly the same way, with the same components, with the difference of the hook itself. That isn't a full circle, it's a partial circle, and it is a Tronix hooligan hook. Try saying that. It's a Tronix Pro hooligan hook. 10-0, which for that size hook, it doesn't look as big as the other J hook. Still with a biting trace, soft flexible wire, Flemish loop, crimps and heat shrink, Gemini stainless steel 140 pound swivel, Flemish loop, crimps and heat shrink. So the pulley rig that you saw earlier on, with beefed up hook snood, I'll go to 70 pound hook snood, 70 or 80 pound hook snood. We'll have that tied on with that much of the line removed. So rather than all of that mono, it will be cut, tied, and that section will be put in purely for the tope fishing. So in total, we've got 5-foot pulley for the majority of the fishing, either using mono or biting traces and mono, depending on what species we're fishing for. We've got Penn Fathom 2 casting specials. We've got ASSO Ultracast, ASSO Ultraflex, and Amnesia for hook snoods. We're using the Gemini silver tip tape. That's my next job in a minute. I'm going to remove that and put the silver tape on. And that's the configuration we're going to use this year. It's exciting stuff, isn't it? We're going to film it all. We'll show you it. We'll share it. We'll show you how we get on, good, bad, or indifferent. If it's good, I'm going to love it. If it's bad, I'm going to try harder. I'll make adjustments. I'll change stuff. But we'll share it and we can discuss it. As always, the feedback to the videos is always the best part for me. I learn loads and I get to respond to people that support the channel. Speaking of which, if you haven't considered subscribing, you like what you see, please do. Hit the bell notification if you want to be told when a new video is released. And please, comments, put your comments down below. Any aspect, rods, reels, line, rig, shock leader, tip tape, the whole shebang, weights, hooks, bite traces. If you've got anything to say on anything, stick it in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear, chat and you know, and respond. That for me, for now, from the workshop, is it for today. I'm going to put some more logs on the fire, heat the workshop up, because it still hasn't warmed up yet. And I've got jobs to do. I'm going to be beavering away. Take care, tight lines, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.